Hello, hello. We are so happy to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
And we have a lot of enthusiastic young people. You can hear and you can see them.
So, how you feel after so great mission?
I'm sorry?
Speaking. How you feel after so great mission? You just finished it.
Oh man, I haven't stopped smiling yet. It feels really great. We've had a lot of good support from everyone, and we're thankful.
I'm curious to ask you, what was the first phone call that you give after the landing of Curiosity?
I texted all my family, but I had a phone call from India, which is where I'm from, and it was actually a reporter who wanted to do an article about what it feels like after landing, and so I did that right after the landing.
Once again, you make a great job. Congratulations for that. We have American people here with us. We have people from Washington.
And it took a very large team, about 10 years to do this, and we're very grateful that it worked. We're thankful for all the support we got, and you guys included. Thanks so much.
Ravi, you have quite an interesting title there. Entry, Descent and Landing Engineer. Are you part of all the stages of the Curiosity mission?
The group that I'm in, the Entry, Descent and Landing group, we're in charge from the moment that we start to enter the Martian atmosphere until we touch down on the ground, and actually even a little bit before that. So there's a team that's in charge of the cruise phase, which is the part where we're getting to Mars, when we're in space, and then when they're done, my team takes over and we help it land on the ground.
That is great, absolutely great. We have a word here when actually it's also in your country. When we get in trouble or see an impossible situation, hard to accomplish goal, it's rocket science. Did the Curiosity mission was rocket science also? It was so hard.
It was rocket science and brain surgery combined. Yeah.
We have some questions. We have an interesting questions from the public. Okay, I have a girl here. Can you come in front? Come in front because Ravi needs to hear you. We don't know the question actually, Ravi. It's a surprise for us.
Hello, I'm Daria, and I want to ask you something. What's the date when you launch Curiosity?
Can you repeat the question, please?
What's the date when you launch Curiosity?
We launched Curiosity, I think it was November 28th of last year. It was 2 days after a holiday here called Thanksgiving. But it was late November. It takes 8.5 months to get to Mars. We're traveling, during that time we're traveling over 8,000 miles an hour. Maybe call that like about 13,000, 15,000 kilometers per hour in space, and it takes us 8.5 months to get to Mars because it's that far away.
And I was asking that because I was thinking that if Earth is closest to the Sun on the 3 January, you could, did you use this date to get like the small amount of combustible that you could use, a fuel, yeah.
We picked the launch date and the arrival date such that we would have to use the least amount of fuel in space, or actually from Earth on the launch rocket. It turns out the further the spacecraft has to travel to Mars along its trajectory, the less fuel it needs. Because if let's say Earth and Mars are very close, you have to fight a lot more of the sun's gravity. But when they're further away on opposite sides of the sun, that's when you use the least amount of fuel. Because you're using most of the sun's gravity to help pull it around.
Yeah. Thank you very much for answering my
Sure
question.
thing. I hope I answered it.
Thank you, Ravi. Actually, she is part of a group, is part of an astronomy group, so it was a bit of technical question.
Okay.
Maybe you can answer her to the email, because they have some interesting technical question. Maybe you can help in your position. You can help young people to understand some part of the missions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That will be great.
Yeah, feel free to give my email out. I will happily answer questions.
Oh, thank you for that.
You know what? We tried to see the landing of Curiosity on Mars yesterday morning. You know, we have some big telescopes here, but our teacher said that it's not possible because it was clouds on the Mars.
Clouds on the Mars. We couldn't see the landing because we're clouds on the Mars, but we saw the picture from the observatory going around the Mars.
Yeah, so, and just so you know, a lot of people expected to see the spacecraft as it was landing on Mars. There's no video camera that will show the spacecraft landing on Mars because there would have to be something there before. So we have orbiters these spacecraft that orbit Mars, and they've been there for many, many years. And one of them took a few pictures of us as we were going down. So we have a great picture of the spacecraft with its parachute deployed that I can send to you guys. There's also, we use those spacecraft to tell us what the Mars spacecraft that we were landing, called Curiosity, what it's doing. And so the rover sends out information to these orbiters, and these orbiters send information back to Earth. And that's how we get the information about what the spacecraft did on its way to Mars.
Okay. Another question for you. Why Australia is the first country who received a message from rover, from Curiosity?
Your question was, which was the first country to receive a signal?
Yeah, I understand that Australia is the first country who received the message. I mean, you have
exactly.
You have big antennas there, right?
Exactly. We have, around the world, there are 3 antenna dishes that are 70 meters across. That's about the size, it's larger than a, let's say, 15-story building.
Whoa.
And, yeah, very, very large. And the dish that was able to see the spacecraft when it was entering Mars is located in Australia, in Canberra, Australia specifically. And so that station received the signal, then the signal went to California, which is where JPL is, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, and then we saw it from there.
Ravi, we were wondering what is so special about the Gale crater, the place where the Curiosity rover landed. What can you tell us about that?
What's really special about this landing site is that because it's a crater, it's like seeing below the surface of Mars. It's like someone already took a shovel and dug out the surface of Mars for us. And because of that, we can see what has happened over the history of Mars. It's like looking back 2 billion years to when Mars was almost formed, or after Mars was formed, into the layers that have happened. So by driving up the crater and analyzing the rock, we can see the history of Mars.
Thank you so much.
I hope I'm not talking too fast.
No. I think everybody understands you. Looking at the stages of the entrance in the atmosphere, of the landing, actually, I can't stop wondering what if something wrong happened. You know, there were so many places where something wrong happened. So I look at all this mission, and I think you actually did a really great job there as an engineer. So we have for you many thanks for that.
Thank you. Yeah, we call the entry, descent, and landing on Mars the 7 minutes of terror, because it takes 7 minutes to go from 21,000 kilometers per hour, which is more than 5 times as fast as a bullet, all the way down to the ground. And in between, thousands of things have to happen right. For example, we have to deploy our parachute, which is the largest parachute ever built. This parachute is 7 stories tall. It gets deployed supersonically, which means faster than the speed of sound. It slows us down to about 250 kilometers per hour, and then we fire rockets these rockets have to make sure that the spacecraft stays upright. And the rover is attached to like this rocket backpack. And the rockets fire, and eventually it releases the rover on this cable, and then they both continue to fall down, to go down slowly until the rover touches down. And then it cuts off this backpack, and the backpack flies away, and then the rover's ready to go.
Wow, thank you for the answers. We have here, besides young people, a lot of special guests. So,
You're right.
So I will give the microphone to one of them, just to put your question.
You have the camera over there, so we can watch. And
My name is Ed, and I'm really curious about what it was like to be part of a team whose mission took so long, yet had such an important vision, and what you went through in terms of your energy and how that vision supported you, and the challenges and the good news, the bad news, all of that during that long process.
Great question. So I have been on this project for over 5 years. There are people that have been on this project for over 10 years. This project was first conceived about 10 years ago, and there are people that have been on this project the entire time. There have been many ups and downs, many problems that we have had to solve. For example, our parachute had many failures during testing. Our heat shield, which protects us from burning up in the atmosphere, that we had to change the material because we realized the material we were going to use wasn't going to work. And so all these things cause all of us to come together very quickly. I've had this privilege of working with what I think is the smartest engineers in the world that have put this rover on Mars. And I feel grateful and blessed that I've been able to work with this group of people. And it's not out of reach for anyone to be able to come to NASA, to work at NASA, to work on anything that you want to. A lot of people don't believe when I tell them that I'm actually not smart. I'm a very hard worker, and that's, I think, what counts for succeeding in life in general.
Well, after